Deborah has volunteered to give us a little bit of a tutorial of how to do this. Let's
Mhm.
share a
Well,
screen.
it's how I do it. It doesn't have to be how everybody else does it, but it's how
That's
I
true.
do it.
We're calling
Um,
it a brief tutorial. It's going to be informal. Please feel
yeah.
free to pop in with any questions that you might have, and let us know. If you think this makes you more likely to go speak up at a BCC meeting, or gives you some tools to feel comfortable doing it, because it is kind of scary for some people.
Mhm.
And so this is exactly right, like Deborah said, what she does. Deborah, do you want to sort of
Yeah,
run with
sure.
it? There's a few things I want to
Sure.
interject too, and but you go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead to the next slide. I'm not sure what it is. Um, I did not attend the the second growth management series of meetings, which the county held last month. And the second meeting that I was very interested in was the how to protect our ag lands and rural areas. And they had a lot of people commenting and several presentations. So I wasn't able to speak at that meeting. So I called in the next day and spoke at the public comment section, which is in the beginning of every meeting. And so we're suggesting here that you research your topic so that you know what you're talking about. And what I do is I write out what I'm going to say. I think about it for a little bit. I type it up in Word. Then I print it out and I read it and I edit it. I may print it again. And I do practice reading with a timer because we only have 3 minutes when we're talking to the county commission. And I typically um, print my comments out in like a 14 point type. So I could easily see it, and I have the 2 pages of comments laid out, so I don't have to ruffle papers when I'm speaking. Um, so here, some thoughts that Susan put through. Are there related policies or resolutions from any past meetings that you want to talk about? And at the beginning of every county commission meeting, you can speak about any topic you want. It's a public comment meeting, but as long as that topic is not on the agenda. If the topic is on the agenda, you have to fill out a speaker card and put the tab number and speak during that time period when the county calls for public comment. Uh, so if there's anything you'd like to see improved, that's something you could go to the county commission or call in and speak in the beginning and say, I'd like to see protection of rural areas improved. Uh, if you have any feedback, if you've watched a county commission meeting and you want to say something at the next meeting, you can do that as well. Um, Suggesting, you want to talk about the story quick?
Sure. So it's always powerful to get your message across if there's sort of a story about it. What motivated you to get there? What did you see in your life that caused you to feel like you needed to go talk to the county commission? Maybe in our realm of environmentalism, maybe you live in Mount Dora area and you saw the flooding that happened after the hurricane, and you were frustrated by how and why that could happen in Mount Dora. And so that would be the kind of thing you bring to the meeting and kind of explain why you're there. How does it affect you? How did it motivate you to come to the meeting to talk to them today? Hi, my name is, I'm here today because I experienced this problem. Myself and my neighbors have all seen this happen. And again, you could just kind of like walk up to the podium and say, I don't like it when it floods, but that doesn't really help, right?
Mhm.
It's much more powerful if you can say, I understand that there is a whole department in the county that is in charge of flood control. And we noticed in this case it failed. And we would like you to investigate a plan moving forward to help prevent this failure in the future. So trying to make it a story always helps when you're doing public speaking. I see some hand waving going on. Are y'all hearing and seeing okay? Give me a thumbs up if you're hearing and seeing okay. Okay, thank you. Just want to make sure.
Mhm.
And so this was Deborah's motivation. She missed a meeting or was not able to go to a meeting she wanted to, so she went and talked in the 3-minute public comment period.
Mhm. Mhm. This is a sample agenda, which many of you are probably familiar with. As we mentioned, anybody can speak about anything that's related to the county. We mentioned there's a public comment period at the beginning of every commission meeting. It's usually near the beginning. Sometimes they put it off for 5 or 10 minutes and do other things. Um, Municipalities, I can't say for sure when their public comment section is. Um, and again, if you're speaking to on about a topic that's on the agenda, you will have to speak during that time that the agenda item is discussed. Yeah, and the meetings can be long, and be prepared to wait. I
Take a
think
water
next,
bottle in.
yeah, next
Yeah.
slide.
Yeah, I will note that about a year ago, I went through all the cities to learn when their meetings were and when their public speaking process is. And of the 14 cities in Lake County, I think I would say like 12 of them do the public comment section in the beginning. So it's pretty likely they're going to do it in the beginning.
Mhm,
But there was one or two that did it at the end. So it's
mhm,
definitely something you want to look up if you want to go talk at your city. Was
mhm,
when their public comment in the meeting is. They have a
mhm,
very similar process, which we'll talk a little bit more as a county as far as signing up and then waiting for your name to get called. It just may
mhm,
vary. Also, sometimes the commissioners and county meeting will take the comment cards they received for a particular item and maybe move them to the front of the meeting if there's a lot of speakers because they know that they don't want to have maybe a lot of people waiting around. It is flexible. So the bottom line is be prepared to be flexible, be prepared to maybe wait.
mhm.
Let me go to the next one.
Okay, this is the first page of my comments. I thought about what I wanted to say. It was about the growth management series, specifically how to protect ag lands and rural areas. So I printed it out and I read it. I timed it so that I made sure it was 3 minutes. On the next page, I had to cross some things out because I went to 3.5 minutes, so I cut that out because I didn't want to get the hook and have them tell me to shut up. So you can see I made some edits here. Most everyone was addressing the county commissioner as Madam Chair and city commissioner, so I changed that and addressed the, good morning, Madam Chair. I crossed out my street because it was taking too many seconds. And I needed to get another sentence in there, so they don't need to know my street. But I do like to tell them that I live in the Yalaha Lake Apopka Rural Protection Area, and I'm in Kirby Smith's district, District 3. So I thank them very quickly for the growth management series. I tell them I wasn't able to attend in person, but I watched it. And, just mentioned there were some good things said by the people who presented, the farmers, and the other people who spoke. My main point was saying that I kept hearing from the commission, how can we better protect our ag lands? And then I switched my comments around because the next paragraph really didn't flow well. So I went down to, you can see my little arrow. I said, say that first. And I just said the county is going to continue to grow and have with residential and commercial development into the foreseeable future. And then I went on to talk about that really we can only protect the 5 areas that are designated as protection areas, the 3 rural protection areas, the Green Swamp, and the Wekiva River Protection Area. And then I asked them to think about putting some additional protections in those areas. And then I was taking some notes. All that other stuff is different notes from the meeting after I spoke. So I do practice reading. It says here the third bulleted point. I do read it with my timer because if I'm going to stumble on a particular word or if I'm going to say or something like that, I'll put a highlight there so I make sure when I'm actually speaking to the commission that I'm not stumbling on that word or saying in a particular location uh, during the 3 minutes. You can put the next one up now. Is there any questions? Any questions? Mm-hmm. And I'm not comfortable ad-libbing. I know some people are really good at that. Marty is a really good speaker. Cindy is a very good speaker, although she does prepare comments a lot. I like to prepare my comments most of the time. If I go to a meeting and I wasn't planning on commenting, I always have my notebook. And if I feel compelled to say something, I will write it down in my notebook and make sure that, my sentence structure makes sense. I've got the correct verbiage and things like that. So, um, here's the next spot is here's how you get on to the county commission meeting. And we're suggesting that you plan ahead. If you look at the fourth bulleted point, um, uh, Susan is going to send this presentation to everybody so you don't have to take notes. But if you haven't gone online to a county commission meeting, you should plan ahead and go to the site at a meeting that, just one that you might not be interested in, just to make sure you can get on. Every now and then, I have a problem getting online. So I have to start at least 15 minutes ahead of time and make sure I've got the right pathway, because sometimes you're on the county website and you click on this, the first bulleted point that's highlighted, and you might not get to where you're going to go. But once you get there and everything's good, you just get a screen that says the meeting will start shortly, or something like that. Mhm.
Yeah, it does ask you to put your name in so they knew who
Oh
you
yeah.
are. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
you
think
put your, you
the
have to
most important
sign
thing,
in, you put your name and your email, and then if you're online and you want to speak, there's a little hand that you click that hand, and then you just leave it there after you click the hand. See where it says raise hand? And somehow they know your name because you've signed in, and the county chair will ask if there's anybody online who wants to speak, and the person in the IT booth will say, yeah, there's one person or two people. I wish there were more people who would speak online, even if you just said, I agree with the speaker who's there, or I agree with this that was already said. And I think that's just, as Susan mentioned, a little more powerful if we have more people addressing the commission. Again, even if you're just telling them you support other things that were said. Mm-hmm. That's sort of all I have. Anything else I'm forgetting?
well, you can also, of course, go to the meeting.
Oh yeah,
A
oh
lot of
yeah,
people
yeah.
who, yeah, a lot of people who work can attend online. And even if you can't get to the meeting during the day, maybe you can take a break during your work time and go in. The public comments, we're going to look at some public comments from a recent meeting so you can see how it flows. They're usually complete by about a half an hour into the meeting. Obviously, it completely varies. So if you know that you think you want to speak, you can maybe block off some time in your workday or in your morning from about 9 o'clock to 9:30 to log in and have your voice heard. You don't have to like go to the meeting, but
Mm-hmm,
it's always good to have butts in seats, as they say. So here's a
mm-hmm,
little bit about what it looks like if you go to the meeting.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you want to speak, once you go in the commission building, the round building, you go in, you go up the stairs, and the table with the speaker card, which is up on the screen on the right, is typically there's a staff member there, and you fill out the card. You either say you want to speak to a particular tab, or you just want to speak in general during the public comment period. Mhm.
Yeah,
And
there's
they
it's
take
usually
it
like
in.
a
Now, if you're late and nobody's staffing it, you can still pick up a card. And when you walk into the meeting, the person who takes the card is way off to the left. Hmm. And we typically, if I'm late, of course, I wait till after the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation is completed, and you can watch that in the rotunda. Hmm.
yeah.
Uh, and you do have to turn in any materials that you have. If you put something on the overhead projection, bring a copy for yourself and a copy for the county clerk. You don't have to submit your comments, but if you put your comments in a letter form addressed to the county commission, you can hand them in as well, and then they'll have a record of it, a printed record of it. Mm-hmm. And that's all I have on this. Yeah, but I do wish more people would either call in. That's the easiest thing to do. Call in and just have something to say about the rural protection areas, or water quality, growth and development, things like that, and just let them know what you think. Mhm.
Yeah. So I was
You
going to
want to finish
show,
up the conclusion?
yeah,
Mhm.
I was going to also, oh, did it go away?
Mhm.
I was also going to show the video of the meeting with both of these comments happening, Cindy talking in person and then Deborah talking online. But does anybody have any questions before we go on? If you
I
do,
was
you're
just wondering if you send an email or a letter by email to the county commissioners before the meeting, and I know you got to get it in the day before 5 p.m. And then if you come and speak, should you hand out a copy of the letter that you sent in already electronically? Or
I
is that
think anything,
overkill?
no, I don't think it's overkill. Honestly, I think anything we give them that becomes public record is good, and it's going to be very interesting to see what the county commission is doing when we're speaking. Just keep an eye out because it's very interesting. Half the time they don't even listen to us, and the other half of the time, because they're not listening to us, they really don't act on whatever we're talking about. And very rarely do they answer a comment. So if you really have a question for them, you should end your comments with a question, and maybe even repeat that. You know, what are you going to do about this? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Here's Cindy.
they are not required to answer or
Right.
engage with you. Once in a while they will.
Right.
I've seen cases where they will engage, and sometimes they'll even do something like say, maybe we should have staff investigate this a little bit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes they
I
will
agree.
act on it. Most of the time though, they just listen as they're required to.
Yeah.
All right.
Or walk away.
We'll see that. Any other questions? All right, can everybody see the video that's on the screen now? Did it?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so this is Cindy, who I think most of you know. She's a absolute pro at this public speaking thing, and so this is like a textbook example of what you could do. She has her topic research, she has documentation, she knows how to use the little overhead thing to show her documentation, and she just goes right through it. So if this is 3 minutes, she uses her whole 3 minutes. We'll just watch this because I think it brings together all those points that Deborah just made.
Unincorporated Eustis, and I'm speaking on the same subject. The original cup back in '87.
Can you guys hear that? It's quiet. It's low on mine.
Plan.
Oh, can you hear it at all?
Just barely.
Yeah,
Just barely.
barely.
All right. Let me see if I can figure out how to make it louder. Give me a second.
Okay. Oh, here's this.
I don't know if this volume affects it at all. I cranked up the volume.
There's a volume on the bottom of your screen, the speaker. I don't know if that's adjusts the volume.
Audio settings.
While you're doing that, Cindy's talking about the Embry-Riddle situation up there in the Ocala National Forest. And this was an original plan that the private individual submitted on paper for his conditional use permit. She calls it a CUP. It's a conditional use permit to have that grassy or what is that called? The
Airstrip.
Airstrip. Yeah, thank you. To have that airstrip. So very, very primitive what was approved. Versus, and that was back in
Give me
the
a thumbs
late
up if you hear
80s.
this.
You got it?
No.
Mm-hmm.
The airstrip was only 2,200 feet, and it ended at Deep Woods Road.
Yeah, I can hear you.
With several different public record requests from various areas, we can find no documentation of that legally being expanded to this, except for a reference when the landowner needed to clear this to make it legal with FDOT. When he went back to the forestry to re-clear this, when it started growing back, it was denied. But the actual inspections for this property ended in 2003 due to some regulation changes at the state level. So even though they were in violation of this, it was not recorded because of the change in what needed to be checked on. But the current cup covers a lot of different things. In 2006, the reason for the amendment to the cup was for a lot split and also for a change in usage. The reason given in that documentation was an extension of the rights to the new owners due to the lot split and the other split lots being sold. So those southern properties actually have rights to use that airport. It was also for support for the firefighters because in the 90s we had all the fires going on, and they used that property to help fight forest fires. So they wanted that to be extended so that could be part of the airport. And it was also for occasional use for training and emergency response during times of drought or other disasters. So this expansion where touch and go could be done every 90 seconds with a 5-plane rotation from dawn to dusk just doesn't fit into what the cup was intended. So we're hoping that we can bring the cup back to be reconsidered because we really don't think it fits. And also, since I've got 20 seconds left, on a side note, SB 1730 was signed by the governor. That was the Live Local Act extension. And with Charles Lee or Lee Constantine and some other support, we were able to get the Wekiva study area and the Everglades carved out of that. So I wanted to thank them. Thank you.
So see, right here, it would be nice if other people were at the meeting just to get up and say, you know, I agree, this particular project does not meet the conditions of the conditional use permit, and I agree with Cindy's comments. That's really all you have to say, because she went into very good detail about it.
All right, and so then Deborah comes in much later. There's a bunch more comments on several different topics. There was definitely some very good other citizens inputting about the airport. And you'll be hearing from LC about the airport as well, and then this other citizens group. So at the end of the last person that was in the room, they went through the cards. The commission chair takes the cards and orders them and then calls the people up. And then she finishes and she'll say something like, I think that's all the citizen comment, but then they will go back to the IT person to make sure there's no one online.
Yes, we do have one online, Deborah Shelley. You should be able to unmute your mic. Please state your name and give your comments to the board.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. Deborah Shelley, Yalaha Lake Apopka Rural Protection Area, District 3. Thank you for the Growth Management Series. I was not able to attend in person yesterday, but I did watch online. There was great information from the presenters, the farmers, and the few folks who spoke afterwards. I'd like to say that I keep hearing from this commission, how can we better protect our ag lands and rural areas? The county, we know the county is going to continue to grow with residential and commercial development into the foreseeable future. The reality seems to be that Lake County has 5 areas that can have potentially better protections long-term into the future. These are the 3 existing rural protection areas, the Green Swamp Area of Critical State Concern, and the Wekiva River Protection Area. These 5 areas have ag lands, established rural communities. So if we can put additional effort into protecting these areas, maybe we can have some success in protecting open space, farmlands, and rural communities. One thing you could do as you are negotiating the JPAs, the joint planning agreements with the cities, and I strongly suggest that you consider looking at the boundaries of the JPAs and not just rolling the existing interlocal service boundary agreement boundaries into a JPA boundary. especially where we have rural protection areas included in an existing interlocal service boundary agreement boundary. Why do the rural protection areas have to be included in a JPA boundary? Can you work towards solving that problem? Landowners can still request to be annexed into a city, but at least the county can take back some control over county designated rural protection areas. Just rolling the ISBA boundary into a JPA boundary is business as usual. Regarding the Groveland JPA, it does include a portion of the Yalaha Lake Apopka RPA, but fortunately, Groveland has a really good strategic plan adopted in 2022. They are very progressive in addressing residential and commercial development. Groveland promotes strategies like infill and lower density farther away from the city core, but we may not see that with other cities. Moving forward, please consider not just rolling ISBA boundaries into a JPA. Please negotiate modifications to the JPA boundaries so the county can have a little better control over county designated rural protection areas. The RPAs were established in 2010. The ISBAs, which circumvent RPA protections, were adopted in 2014 and are 20-year agreements. I hope we don't have to wait until 2024 to resolve this issue. Sorry, 2034. You have an opportunity to address the issue as part of the JPA process, but we do not see it yet. So please consider those JPA boundaries very carefully, and thank you again for the growth management series.
All right, thank you, Deborah. And we have that meeting next week. I think everybody needs to take into account those comments as far as how to handle those rural protection areas within the confines of those JPA discussions and agreements. All right, last call.
When you were on the phone with them, could you see them? Like, could you see Sabatini?
Yeah. Yeah, they
Could
can't
say,
see me,
"Hey,
but I can see
Sabatini."
them. I can see exactly what they're doing. I can
Like-
see Commissioner Sabatini leaving. And Commissioner, what's the gentleman way up there, the left, the new guy, Thomas? I don't know what he's doing. He may or may not be paying attention.
Sabatini left
Yeah,
while she was talking.
yeah. But Commissioner, after my comments, Commissioner Chair Leslie Campione did say that, you know, when we have our JPA meetings, let's look into what I stated, that don't roll the ISBA, the interlocal service boundary agreement boundary, don't just roll that into the joint planning agreement boundary, because those interlocal service boundary agreement boundaries have the rural protection areas in them. So they're still going to allow the cities to annex. So the county can get more control over the rural protection areas if they do not include the protection area boundary within a joint planning agreement boundary. But what we're seeing, and what I mentioned with the city of Groveland, they just took the exact same boundary. And so now Groveland, if they want to, can still annex rural protection area lands. But if you're from Groveland or familiar with Groveland's 2022 strategic plan, they've got some really good stuff in there. And the city of Groveland, the city council has made a 180-degree turn. They're very much pro-ag. They're pro keeping infill within the city. And things like that. So they're not likely to continue to annex rural lands in rural protection areas. So that's a good thing right now, as long as we keep the same council members. Just got to watch that. And I'm in the county, unincorporated Lake County, so I don't vote for the city of Groveland people, but I am affected by them. 12 years ago, the council was really bad. They were total pro-development, and 13 miles from the city core on my street, they annexed in about 300 acres and put 600 units on. And then the property just went up for sale, and now we're stuck with that because those folks have entitlements from a previous city council. So, you know, the joint planning agreement was supposed to resolve any new type of development. So I'm hoping that, you know, Groveland will continue to be pro keeping ag lands and protecting